Hello, everybody, and welcome back to the Weird Science Manga and Anime Podcast. I am here with my man, Luke Hollywood. What up, Luke?
What up, Jim?
What up? And it is Manga Monday. You're back from holiday.
Wow.
Still a little sleepy.
Always.
We are recording this hot off the presses, right? We have a new book here. You told me about it. I ended up reading it, said, hey, it's a little predictable, but whatnot. What was predictable was you falling asleep again.
Oh,
and
no.
I never really got to tell everybody because last week we didn't have our weekly show. Very weekly because you fell asleep and then messaged me. I was already in bed. I had given up on you. This time I realized now. Now I understand what's going on. I'm like, I just have to wait till he's done hibernating a bit.
There we go.
I did a bunch of other things.
I get my second win pretty quick, you know?
Yes. At like 4 a.m.
Yes.
Is your second win.
Wow.
So if you were wondering why we didn't have a show the last Wednesday, that was why. Luke fell asleep. And then I was going to do it on my own. I'm like, it doesn't feel right.
The magic isn't the same.
No. And then I ended up doing the Patreon show, the Patreon Picks show. A condensed version with our man Clay. So if you wanted to listen to that, where we talked about Kaiju number 8, and also, I believe, Blue Box, you can go over to the Patreon. Now, with that, this coming up week, and even here, we have a hot off the presses. We're going to put it back. I said, I didn't want to be LL Cool J. Don't call it a comeback, though you said that to me after I said, like, we're back now. You're back from the holiday. So we're going to put this on... hot off the presses, and it's from the creative team of Promise Neverland.
Wow.
I thought it was going to be a bigger deal, but then I didn't see many comments.
Not much
they're pretty
buzz
split.
in the comments.
No, not much buzz at all. Oh. Did you know about this before today?
Listen, 3 hours ago, I didn't know this existed, and now here we are.
I'm telling you, even when I went through a bunch of things and looked, I just glanced over. I didn't even know what it was. So we're going to do this, whether or not it's hot off the presses.
I think the thing is, because as you know, we were off because of the Olympics and me falling asleep. But
yes,
I think with jumping back and there's so much big, you have My Hero back, you have Jujutsu Kaisen back.
Yeah, I know. I think I didn't catch up, Luke.
No, I know you didn't catch up.
And then I actually thought that I was going to look at the end of Jujutsu Kaisen. It would say we don't know when the next chapter. No,
this ain't no.
No. Choujin, that we might have to start talking about that too, because that's actually coming out on the reg a bit as well.
It's like normal size now. It's not like 128 pages.
I know, crazy.
Goodness.
Still wacky though, right? It's pretty.
But I think the thing is with this, it might have got lost in the shuffle, especially because nobody knew. It hit out of nowhere. I mean, the buzz about Promise Neverland, no one's really talking about it much these days, so it might have just been under the radar a little bit.
It's weird, too, because it's so short a chapter for a one-shot as well. I mean, we just ended up having a couple one-shots, including when we first got Choujin X, which was like, I don't know, it seemed like it was like 800 pages at one point, but we've had a couple of these. This feels like, I don't know, it didn't quite feel like even enough for a first chapter, let alone a one-shot. But we'll get into that in a second, because we want everybody to go over to Twitter. At Weird Manga, follow us. We'll follow you back, 100% follow back policy, so we can talk about things and we can check out what you're doing. And again, I mentioned you could go to the Patreon, patreon.com/Weird Science Manga. All of these are in the show notes as well, where you can click them and stuff. And over on the Patreon, you get 14 episodes, early access in advance of our Manga Monday show that you're listening to right now, plus the weekly Picks of the Week show, which is from those chapters that week 3 books we talk about, usually on a Tuesday. I will tell everybody, I think that this week we're going to have it on a Wednesday.
It's all over
because of scheduling problems. You're still kind of getting back into the swing of
things. It's all my fault.
Now let's blame Mark. We'll just blame Mark. That's what we're going to do. Jeez. Mark ends up, I have to record something with him as well. Yeah. And it's funny because he ended up saying to me, I can record any day, but not Wednesday. And really spelled out the Wednesday. I'm like, I guess that's what
I don't know what's happening on Wednesday.
Wednesday seemed to be some crazy day for him.
Oh, my goodness.
But here we are. We have a special one-shot. What is it called, Luke?
Yes, this is the hot off the presses. I'm telling you, this is steaming, Jim, because we didn't even know it was in the press.
You think it's a steaming pile, I think.
Oh, well.
I like it more than you. I like it more than you. So there, finally. Finally, I'm not, Mr. Positive, Luke.
Yeah, you're positive, Peter. I'm negative Nancy this week. How the tables have turned. Oh, my goodness. Yes, but this is
holiday.
Yeah, it must have been. This is the new one-shot DC3 from the Promised Neverland creative team, written by Kai-U Shirai and art by Pozuka Demiyuzu. We've done that like 3 times and I still don't know how to pronounce their names. Oh no. But here's the thing. As it is a one-shot, not a ton of info available, obviously. But I will say it's worth pointing out that this is not the first one-shot that this creative team have done. And as we mentioned before we got started, last year, around about the same time last year, around August, they actually hit us with a spirit photographer Saburo Kono, which was creepy cameraman with the ghost.
It was creepy cameras.
Ghost
now,
pictures.
with that, Luke, I just want to let you know that you've inspired me now.
Oh.
And I do believe, since this is hot off the presses,
Yes.
I do believe, because I ended up doing an episode on the spooky ghost detective on the cameras. I think I'll put that up this week on the Patreon. On the Patreon, just as a Patreon-only thing, just throw it up there. So if that is inspiring to you as well, another reason to go check that out, because, I do have that.
You know, my hot take for the week, Jim?
What's that?
I like that one more than this one. Oh, my goodness.
That is a hot take. Well, here's the thing. I do, too. And the thing, reading the comments, that was more of what people expected from the creators and the creative team.
That kind of spooky,
Promised Neverland.
Mystery style.
A mystery, a little darker and whatnot.
Absolutely.
So I think that what is happening here, and maybe that's why, this might serve a different purpose.
Oh.
Maybe it's the idea, like, you might want to have like an M. Night Shyamalan. He's making a movie and he's like, listen, I don't want a twist. Like, you know what I mean? Like, he now is stuck doing twists at everything.
That's the thing. There is a twist here, but like you see it coming 3 miles away.
And maybe it's one of those things that these guys are like, listen, we don't want to do everything dark, and we don't want to have this big mystery where all of a sudden we find out that these kids are being rounded up and killed. So how about we just do something that's a little bit more, surface level even, but wholesome and fun. Mm-hmm. And I think it threw a lot of people off. I think it did, really, because when you go into this, you really are expecting, because of the creative team, oh my God, like, what's under the surface? What bad things going on? And it ends up in this one shot is it just plays off. To me, it plays off a lot like what you would get on like a Saturday morning cartoon or something on like Nickelodeon, just something out there. It's not really going to blow your mind. There is a twist, but the twist you could see coming from a mile away.
It's a bit predictable, but when you say that, that doesn't mean it's not entertaining. You know what I mean?
I like it a little more. My problem is, and I think the art's great. I think the art is really, really good. My problem is we get a main character who I think could be a gem among gems.
Potential.
I mean, this could be like Hina's little sister.
Wow.
But you don't get anything from
It's all
her.
surface level.
That's the problem, because you only get like 40-some pages. I think that this would have been better as double the length. Go around 80 pages.
And that's,
it's a one shot, so you can
don't
do
usually
that.
say that, Jim. More
I know.
pages. That's something
else.
else.
I needed some more development, because what you end up getting, you get like the crazy scientist dad. But then you get a big betrayal. But is it big? Because we don't know the characters. Then we end up seeing a childhood friend, but it's predictable. Like, everything
and all that is
there.
Done in the space of like 2-3 pages. So if you just stretch that out a little bit, I'd say we'd be skipping.
And everything to make a good story is here. It's just not done well. It seems
it's got
like
the bones of it, but we want meat on them bones.
The meat, it seems like the bones are getting thrown at you.
Oh, jeez.
And then at the end, you're just kind of left there, like, trying to pick through what was good and what wasn't. And
where's the gristle?
And so if you ended up 80 pages, like you said, I don't often yell for that, but if this would have been a first chapter, kind of settled down, and then it was a serialized deal where this chapter could have been stretched into 3 chapters.
Oh, yeah.
An oversized first chapter and then go. But really develop. Give us who the girl is. Give us the whole idea of this, because she's really cute. Almost comes off like Hit Girl a little bit.
At the start, but
not
then even
enough.
that's kind of dropped.
Yeah, that's dropped. And
that grabs your attention straight away.
Yeah. Oh, yeah, because she's a strong little girl who says, like, the whole world's against her, but she doesn't care. I can fight them off. Look at me. I got goggles on. I'm going to kick butt. And then, like you said, once you get the other character, because we'll go into this right now, but once you get that, it kind of pushes her to the side. And now she's kind of playing catch up to figure out who this DC3 is, but yet we know right away because it's the only other thing that's brought up, and we see it's kind of nonsense by the deal. But boy, the cover and the first color page is so good.
What has she got in her hands?
In the cover, I believe that would be a grenade. She's about to throw it, and it might just be a gas or a smoke grenade or something like that. But you end up where she's like, I got my pencil case, got my notebook, got my textbooks, my tear gas, my stun gun. This is the Hit Girl stuff. That's cool. I love that. I love this stuff. I mean, again, if you want to also ask me who she kind of is like, she's kind of like Gabby from the X-23 deal, even like a Damian Wayne, right? From the deal. It's great. Yeah. It's great. And, she say, hey, Daddy, he calls. We find out that he is a robotics mad scientist, right?
And looking like Mr. Sakamoto here with that mustache. Yeah.
And with that, like, what? I told you, I don't need anybody to protect me. As she walks out of the compound that she lives in, big walls around this mansion, and you have at least 1,000 people ready to kill her. They're all different ways. And I'm telling you, the beginning of this, I think, is really well played out. And then it just loses itself just trying to shove everything at you. When you're just focusing on this, I thought it was really good because you got Seiho is our main character. She's 14. It's 2034 AD, and her father has created a line of androids, a line of robots. And with that, they ended up coming to say, oh my God, you figured out, robotics. You've gone way above. How did you crack the code? And he's like, well, by dumb luck. And even this, it's just too quick and shoved aside. The idea, and why would he announce? He shouldn't announce this.
This is where the goofiness comes in.
Yeah, because she even says, I don't know why he said this, but basically he's like, oh, we never would have done this, but my daughter was tinkering on my laptop. Boom, problem solved. She ends up pounding on the laptop, and somehow she hits something. And that's supposed to lead us to believe that he then was able to harness the power of androids and robotics.
And this is baby Saho. This isn't
this is a while ago.
This is a while ago.
This is probably like 12 years ago. She looks like she'd be like 2 years old. So she says since then she's been targeted by everybody's people. Want to kidnap her. Cults that think she's a goddess. Anti-robot terrorists and paparazzi. They're all after her. She's running away. And again, this might have been like, if you think of it as an anime, pretty cool, like, intro you would have as that, like, beginning scene of, like, hey, my name's, Or even,
like, you remember the Saturday morning cartoons?
Yeah, that's what it's like. Yeah.
Straight away.
And have all these people running, Sao's running away and all. But it just ends up playing off like just things being thrown at you because she's throwing smoke bombs and tear gas. Says, I don't need a guard. I can take care of myself. This one guy blows up a car that flies up in the air and is going to land on top of her. And then out of nowhere, this robotic kid shows up and catches the car. Now, with that, she would have died, correct?
I think so.
Yeah, so why is she upset about it now? She's like, I don't need... No. You'd be dead. So
Grenade's not going to help that, is it?
No. And like, hey, I'm DC3. I am your bodyguard.
Beautiful.
It's like Small Wonder back in the day, but with a guy and he's strong. And like, hey, I'm going to secure your personal safety. And this reminds me a bit of, just think of Witch Watch. We love Witch Watch. Hopefully everybody listening. No. But that's what I'm going to talk about. Jerk. Listen, I hope everybody will know and have read Witch Watch.
You like the Witch Watch?
Really good. I do. I hear that Gabe likes it too.
Oh my goodness.
He has no idea. So we end up here with the idea that we've had Moy, protecting Nico, and it's been built to this point where we're at now as we're recording it, where Moy is going off to kick some butt because things are happening. They almost want to get to that point here without the build-up. There's no build-up here. Yeah, and so when I'm here to secure your personal safety, And like, okay, well, what's that? What's this? Oh, that's our new middle school robot DC3. It's the pinnacle of our tech. But you don't know anything about this stuff. And in that, you basically, what should I do? Just wipe them all out. He's got the Iron Man repulsors. Boom. He kills everyone. Then you get that artist's impression of them all being destroyed.
Really, I don't know.
Well, later they say pick up the survivors. So some are dead. I mean, this is the thing, too, where, again, you're throwing things at us. At one point, you end up having Seo's dad say, we bought that block so we can kill anybody on it. And they weren't supposed to be there. So they were bad. And I'm like, some of them were paparazzi wanting a scoop, right? They were even yelling, scoop, scoop. And also some were like, oh, you're a god. Like, they don't really.
The cult? They might have been a nice cult.
They shouldn't be. Well, they weren't. Like, yeah, you can't take her, but
you can't
not
kill them.
Dead. I mean, the terrorists that were throwing bombs and stuff. Yeah, okay.
Yeah, good idea. Yeah.
But some of them, not even that. And some even were just there to just be there. I'm telling you. They end up, I don't know why all these people deserve to be dead.
The whole street goes kaboom. That's that's bad stuff, that is.
Yeah, I mean, it is. And so then you end up, even Saho's like, you have to, think of humans. They're not human guard. Like, this is bad. Why? But that gets just thrown aside again. Right, and it's just
that's played for comedy as well, but that kind of throws you off,
It does, and what also really does throw me off is the continual thing of the big fight is, I don't need a bodyguard. I don't need a bodyguard. Please, we should have had some pages where we see that either she does or doesn't, not just the one fight where, oh my God, a car was going to fall on her. I mean, she's now 14. She's been dealing with this. Let's see some of that first. Let's see where, out of nowhere, why the dad at this point decided I need DC3 out there. Like, did we have some big thing that just happened, whatever?
But this seems like every day this is happening. So why now?
Yeah, and show that, the arms race, not between the dad and Seho, where she keeps getting these bodyguards and she ends up ditching them, or she ends up destroying them herself or whatever, and now he has been forced to make the pinnacle, the ultimate. But the problem is, it's just the surface level deal. Is if this is the only time this has ever happened where he has upped the ante to a robot bodyguard, right? But that's what he does. Why wouldn't he do this before? And
that's
then
what you expect from Mr. Robots. Jeez.
Yeah, Mr. Robots. I mean, but she is now, like I said, a cool character that I thought would be, a lot of fun and whatever. She's just regulated to leave me alone. I don't need a bodyguard. I don't need a bodyguard.
Shtick the whole time.
Yeah, the whole time. And even when they go to school, where's the shenanigans?
No shenanigans.
And this is the thing. Is this the stuff where I'm saying this, that maybe I do want a serialized deal because we might get it? And I would say that if they do end up making a serialized deal, somehow, we don't think that this is getting a lot of buzz, but maybe it is. And maybe in Japan they do it. Please redo this. Scrap this and go, because when they go to school, even, you end up having a android kid in school, and the only thing that he says in this, the whole school deal is, I used money to pay so I could sit next to you. Then we have like these things where you see him in like a montage, but that's the fun of it.
I know, and it's so tiny. Give me pages of that, please. I take it.
She's out running and he's running alongside it, and just make it so that like this is an actual race, like a whole deal. And she's not even, but he's running alongside, like getting in the way and stuff.
And doing the painting, and he's right on top of her. Oh my goodness.
She's reading a book and he just looks bored next to her. Like, it's not even the little things aren't as fun as they should be, right?
The potential for shenanigans is out the wazoo.
Where's the two girls that are always hanging in the background of these things going, girls. Oh my God, what do you have, a new boyfriend? Jeez. And then where are all the girls liking him because he's got that monocle on that one eye, right?
He's posh.
Now, with
fancy.
Look at that suit he's got on.
I'm telling you.
Even though I'm looking, it does look like just the school suit.
But he wears it well, doesn't he?
What's with the teacher? Looks like he has like a clown arm.
I have no idea.
Right? And then they're talking about the bodyguards and things like that, where they have the other models. The
I love these guys.
The salary model 35, and then the Mitsuko 48-year-old model, and it just looks like, she could be the lunch lady, she could be this, whatever. Later, it seems like she becomes a janitor/assassin.
Wow.
But even then, at the end, there seems to be like a reveal that I didn't get quite, right? I'm like, is that a reveal?
Is that the twist? But like, that feels like is that played for laughs as well?
I don't know. I don't know, because you have all this, and it's like, hey, I don't want you around. And then you end up having this android DC3 say, hey, can I ask you a question? Do you not have any friends? Now, with that, you end up seeing she had one friend as a kid who said, I will watch out for you, and I will never let anything happen to you, make sure. Right away that this robot is this kid from when because he ends up jumping in front of her and takes a grenade.
Yeah, from Mr. No Robot Man.
No Robot Guy. And so, again, though, that shows you that she's been dealing with this for that long, and this kid jumped in front. Even without, they're trying to play coy with this. You can tell it's him. You can even see it's not even that crazy. But with that, is DC3 the android? Is he asking this because he just wants to see if she remembers him? Or is his mind wiped? We don't
know.
It doesn't play.
We see in the flashback, he's got no arms. Somebody give him a hand. He's got no hands. He's not got legs.
He's got nothing.
But I don't know. Does he still have the memories, or did they get blown away too?
I think that what he does still have is his heart.
Oh,
right?
My goodness.
But even that, when people are like, I expected this dark twist. I mean, a kid who gets his limbs blown off.
This is pretty grim. For the Saturday morning cartoons, this is pretty grim.
Yeah, yeah, really. I mean, even though that still is kind of the deal of, say, a RoboCop, right?
Mm-hmm.
But also Inspector Gadget.
There you go. Go, Gadget.
It is. It's
arms.
like everything like that.
There you go.
And so you go. So with that, it's so predictable. It put you to sleep. And you even see at the one point this kid's dad was the chief of security. Then I'm starting to wonder, is he the salaryman robot now? Is that guy? But who knows? But yeah, she ends up deciding, I'll never have friends again. I can't trust having friends, and I don't need a bodyguard because people get hurt. But you don't get the feels. The feels aren't there because there's no buildup. There's nothing with
this is all in the space of 2 or 3 pages. So any potential you have to tug at the heartstrings, it's just kind of pushed aside.
But you can see that if it was done differently, there could be, right?
Potential.
Yes,
absolutely.
The potential is there. It's just thrown at you, and it's thrown at you so rapid fire that you never settle down.
Nothing to hook onto.
We're legitimately looking at maybe a 6-year-old kid jump in front of a grenade, a guy, and take it and ends up getting. That should be feels. Feels out the wazoo. We should be crying here, and I'm not.
No.
And then she just says, I don't need friends or bodyguards. I can handle things on my own. Get lost. Just looking at you makes me angry. And I'm thinking, even then, I didn't read ahead. I'm sitting there thinking, seriously, that's him. Are you saying that? Are you hinting at the idea, looking at you where is the point where she goes to her father and says, how dare you set me up with this robot that looks like my friend that got his limbs blown off? What are you playing here? And you don't get that, but that's who it is. And so nothing's played off.
And that would maybe, not to, spill the beans a little early, but that would maybe give the ending a bit more gravitas, because when we get the reveal and everybody and their granny saw it coming.
Yeah, seriously. And so you end up, though, now with pages of her walking around and him following. And it just doesn't play out well. She goes in the girls' room, he goes in the girls' room. But there's never, the fun things would be if we knew what was going on in the school, but we never had time with it. So it's basically him just going in, one girl yelling, and you see that she's jumped out the window and ran away. And he just keeps, following. And then you see a little montage of how she was training. I'm fine on my own. Even at one point, you end up with these little girls. They're you never get, again, the feels where she was made to train because everybody's against her. And she never had a good childhood, but you don't get that. You get this little quick thing.
All of these, montages, we're not going to get the feels out of that. No. You need to give us something more to chew on.
And then, there's the thing. She runs into these 2 girls, and they're eating ice cream. Maybe. And she's like, that looks like fun. And but again, without any setup, without any idea of her, like, you could have a scene at some point of where she used to go get ice cream with this boy that was her friend, or when even like stuff like before her father became big. I want to see this idea of when she pounded on the keyboard, right? That's the worst thing that ever happened because now her dad's famous and they don't get time to get but there's nothing. There's just this little girl running around, and she runs into these other girls who are gossiping and talking and laughing, and also are android ninjas.
Whoa.
And they end up attacking as you end up getting DC3 come running in and saying, stop, these girls aren't real, and they cut off his arm.
Sliced and diced.
Did you sit there and say, oh my God, he lost his arm?
Poor ice cream.
I know, really, look at that. And then he starts fighting, and then all of a sudden, this girl's arm might turn into an AK-47, or at least she had it.
What's going on there? Is
gun
that your
arm
man
there, right? Yeah,
I
don't know, but the other girl has a katana.
Whoa.
And then we go back, and we ended up, and I love this idea here because then you end up where the father, Mr. Robot, Mr. Roboto.
Mr. Roboto.
He's end up like, hey, what's going on? And then, oh no, Akichi, my assistant that you first saw on page 14, that they spell it out. It's so weird that they say this. Like,
is that supposed to be like, is that like,
I think it was supposed to be a joke,
this
right?
Is very tongue-in-cheek. Like, everybody knew this guy was betrayed.
And I think that's the thing that they're playing with, too, of like, oh my God, who's this guy? Oh, he was in page 14. He's just there. He's turned on, his boss. His
Say it so.
Yeah, I mean, Mr. Kichi, he now decides, listen, you make the Guardians and this. I want to make weapons. I want to make I'm going to make the money. I'm going to take over your whole place here, and I'm going to turn all this. And by the way, some of my prototypes, they're out going to kill your daughter right now. They're going to do that and that DC3 nonsense. And I actually lost track in this of what was going on. Like, it seemed to jump back and forth. I didn't realize that a lot of the stuff they actually had just been looking at a screen then, and also DC3 trying to call the dad. It got a little wonky for me, but not too much. But the ending of, oh my God, how are you doing this? Then you get an explanation. Do you understand really what he's saying? I'm telling you, like, the idea of, listen, he's a human, but he has android parts that humans can't use, so he could use them, but then he's better. I'm like, I don't know what you're really saying.
Is he part human, part like androids? I don't know. Like
he ends up saying, like, he's got the robotic parts that can't be used by humans, but since he can use them, he's better. And
even
then
stronger.
Sakichi's like, oh my God, he did say that he was stronger than 100 things. He didn't mean humans. He meant other androids. I'm like, all right, whatever. And he trained. This is where you see that this kid, it was the friend. He ended up throwing himself in there like a RoboCop's and lost his arms and legs and maybe his will to live until he became an android fighter.
He got a monocle and it was all okay.
He got a monocle. I mean, that's pretty cool. Usually that's the evil person. But
I know, right?
It's a really big monocle too, right? And it's a weird deal because it's like a mechanized monocle thing, and I don't know why you just couldn't put that in the eye so that he doesn't look crazy. Because it ends up looking
it would fall
really
out all the time.
Yeah,
jumping around the place.
Like he was even trying to pretend he was, a school kid, but he looks a little odd with that.
Is that the style of the kids these days?
It might be nowadays. I don't know. I'm too old for that. Oh, like, really? Like that's what you do? I'm not in. But yeah, so. They're going back and forth about, oh my God, he trained against the androids, so he's better than them. This Aikichi, oh my God, what's going on? You didn't tell me all this, and how's this going? And you end up seeing DC3 then take care of these ninja girls.
The action is pretty cool here.
Yeah, it's cool. You end up seeing that the one girl that does just have like a wrist cannon now ends up pointing it right at Seiho.
The target on the head.
Yeah. Gonna get zapped, and
kabam.
He's not gonna let that happen. And he jumps in, and he's invincible, and whatever. I'm telling you, it's like just thrown at you.
Well, that's the thing here. Like the action's nice, and like it looks cool. And here we go again. Like Saturday morning cartoon, you'd be chowing down on your cereal, having a blast here, but there's nothing. It's all surface level. Do you really care? I don't care. When. Yeah, he gets his arm chopped off. No,
the rest
of
this is pretty much a fight.
Yeah.
And you do see, I mean, if you're going to get, like, this is the things that I think you see that it could be. Because, I mean, seeing this little kid with that bandage over his eyes and he's just trying and trying, like, that gets you a little. But also when they say, hey, you're a human and you're fake. Oh, no. And it's going back and forth. And it's a nice deal. But it was so obvious that that's what it was before. But she realizes that it's him. And I do like this idea of, like, I was there to protect you, and then I got hurt, but now I have, I've made you not trust people. When I jumped in front, like, it's there, but it's not there.
I don't know why he's like, because this kid,
but now,
he's got no arms, he's got no legs, and now he's indentured servitude because he has the fancy android
That's
arms.
The funny thing about it. I mean, surface level, he really is just there to protect her. Like, that idea, like, again, though, when you have Moy and Nico, I'll go back to that. Moy is a familiar. That's his job. And this is just some kid who was growing up and like, oh man, and he's really upset that, I took away your ability to trust and depend on others. Give me another chance.
Whoa.
And then she's like, all right, yes, and they start fighting. They start fighting these girls again. As she's crying and says, okay, you can protect me. He says, can I protect you? And they jump up out of there. But boy, when he starts fighting these girl robots, I mean, some of these pages look incredible. Mm-hmm. He gets her out of the way. Part of the thing, though, is her dad. You end up having this assistant who is now going to kill her dad, saying that if I can just get rid of you, nobody will even know that I have this plan. I'll be able to do it later. But you even have, like, he's a total badass. and going all this stuff about his limbs and things like that. But at the end, I'm like, all right, let's just keep going. Like, it ends up really having a lull at this ending, which I think threw me off. And I think it might have thrown a lot of people off as well, because not liking it as much. And a lot of people were like, yeah, I'm kind of 50-50 with this. And I think it started out really good. But by the end here, where you just have DC3 destroying everything, the signal goes out on the computers. And then, like I said, at the one point, you almost have the dad die, but out of nowhere, pretty much to me, it's Roboco comes up, as a job. Really, it comes. Doesn't it look like her?
Nice, it was spot on.
Hits this guy over the head with a plunger to save the dad, while you end up having DC3 saving Seiho and jumping around, and then she kind of gets involved. They have a flamethrower. I mean, it gets real wacky by the end, and then it just kind of ends. You know what I mean?
It kind of very really just ends.
And with that was like, oh wait, are you? And you see that the salary model 35, it says it's an undercover ninja.
He did the little bouncy thing that she landed on the roof.
Yep, he's a ninja. And then you just find out that the MTK-48 is also a janitor. I'm like, that's not as cool as a ninja. I don't get it, but...
this is where I think, and like it goes back to the school shenanigans. Can you imagine, like, if Dr. Roboto had like, okay, yeah, you won't have any bodyguards, but I'll have like my secret android army behind the scenes, and like,
I'm telling you,
the potential
that would be awesome, right?
It would have been so funny,
I'm telling you, it's weird because even with the action at the end and stuff like that, I could see this having the fun of like a Sakamoto days.
Oh, definitely.
Of like the fun action. And like you said, I would love, and Roboco, which I know is people hate, but me and you like, but just imagine, like, the dad seems like he's a wacko, right?
Oh,
even the idea that everything that he did just was from a girl hitting the keyboard, and however that works. But I could even imagine the 35-year-old salaryman model there going to school is like, hey, where are all the cool kids? Like, pretending he's a kid and then not giving up his cover. She's like, I understand. I know what you are. Like, what are you talking about? I'm one of the youngsters, and things like that.
Or like then, like the janitor's like, let's go for crepes. Let's get some ice cream. I'm not hanging out with the janitor.
Yeah, hanging out with her. And always going around with that plunger
everywhere. Yes, you see, there's the comedy potential,
and that's actually one of the things that I would say by the end. And again, this might be the shortest episode we've ever had.
Wow,
we're done. I mean,
pretty much.
Is it, right? Yeah. That's it. I don't think it knows what it wants to be either. I think they're just throwing this out as a one-shot, and it has really good humor potential, especially with these other robots. We're just goofing off and stuff. And, me and you are dummies. They could probably come out with some good things as well with it. But there's also huge action. You have, again, you know what else? Like, it's almost like everything thrown at you, because even the idea of DC3 could be almost like a Kaiju number 8 sort of feel, where he doesn't know if he's an android or he's a real boy.
The humanity.
You have like a cyborg thing with that.
My goodness,
you can have the dad run into problems because he can't come up with anything else because he's a dummy and he needs her to, hey, can you hit that computer?
There's a lot of
weird stuff.
There's a lot of potential there, and then even as we were saying, as we were going on, like, we see the bones of it with the characters, and the problem is that it's relegated to these short little flashbacks, these little vignettes that go so quick, we don't have time for proper feels. If we had proper feels, because we have everything else, we have humor, we have the action, especially towards the end, those splash pages, the action's really cool. And I think the action, because that's the thing with The Promised Neverland, like, you never really had proper action time to shine. So, like, to see it here from Demiuzu, it really does shine. But it's just, you have nothing to hook onto with the characters, and then by the end, when it's so abrupt, you're kind of just left. Oh, is that it? All right, and then you close it, and then you don't even bother commenting on Manga Plus. Jeez.
Yeah, and with that, like, the action's great, right? But DC3 ends up punching both of these androids, and they're done.
Yeah,
one hit. So it kind of just gets pushed aside. When they're just done like that, you're like, oh, okay. Like, I guess he's real strong. I mean, it doesn't hit. And the feels and the stuff. You go to the school shenanigans, but don't get it. You end up with, oh, my God, my school, my young chum that used to hang out with me, my old friend, he ended up being just like, you almost get the idea if you really think about it, where I like Seo, and I think that part of it was the beginning, but you don't even get like a really cool look for her past that first initial look. But with that, she ends up having a bodyguard robot that was her friend. She forgot, like, left that guy behind. Like, the idea all of a sudden he shows up, she doesn't even recognize him. They didn't change anything with him. He's just him, and she has no clue, because she feels like to me, it feels like, oh, I forgot about that guy.
She kind of loses her shine. You see, at the start, we're at strong gem potential.
It's not at the end like you're like, man, I love her.
No.
And DC3, you don't get enough, so you don't love him. So who do you love? I mean, actually, by the end, the janitor lady who looks like Rocco. That's who actually, by the end, I'm like, I'd like to see more.
The thumbs up. I'm like, let's see more of this.
Yeah, let's see that. That's pretty cool. But yeah, even the other ninjas, I'm like, they could be interesting. I don't know. But
like the Gossip Girls? Like, if they didn't get blown up instantly, I'd be like, oh yeah, this is good. You see, like, there's a lot here, I think that's why it's kind of left underwhelming.
The other thing that's funny is the idea that they're fighting. You end up having, Seo's dad, who owns the company, who's fighting seemingly with his assistant, and his assistant wants to make weapons. He says he doesn't, but he made one, because then they're fighting. I'm like, yeah, you're kind of losing me overall with this. But I think that with a little development, a little more space to do this, it could have been something, and it could still be. A lot of times me and you have done things for Manga Monday where, this came from a one-shot. Remember, they're always pushing the idea of from the award-winning one-shot. And they're like, we know. And we rarely have heard of it or read the one-shot before. And a lot of times in the comments, they're like, they reworked it. So I hope maybe this, maybe it'll be a year from now or something where all of a sudden they'll come out, we'll completely forget about it, and then they'll develop it more, and we'll have some cool idea.
You remember last year, Creepy Cameraman. Now that felt like a one shot when it was kind of like one and done. That felt like it wasn't going to. That was it. That was a short story. This feels like they're like laying the foundation for something.
Backdoor pilot to try to get a serialization. I mean, there's no doubt about it.
But it's a foundation made of sand, Jim.
It is.
Oh, no.
But here's the deal. You get a little time, lay some concrete, get the things going. Now we have a good foundation. We can use. This could be something.
Yeah.
It really could. If you developed there is not one thing in this that is fully developed or done right, but there's a lot of things that are almost there.
And it's cherry picking, like, that's, I think it would, like, say a year down the line, I don't know. Like, let's not set our stopwatches.
I need some distance, though, between this. So.
But, like, if you look at it, it has, as we were saying the whole time, it has, like, kind of, it's cherry picking from a lot of good stuff. You have Sakamoto Days.
It reminds you of good things, right?
Kaiju number 8, and me and Roboko.
Yeah, I'm not sitting here saying that this reminds me of Nehru.
No,
right? A little shade there. Like, oh, this reminds me of ITLC, right? No, the things that reminds me of are good things, and it's weird because again, sometimes you get these one shots, or sometimes anything. It doesn't have to be one shots, but sometimes you're reading something, and you're like, you know what? I think that one little bit was pretty good, but the rest, this has a lot of down the middle stuff that could be better. There's a lot of stuff that you can say that could be better, that could be better, that could be better. And I think that it just needs space. I mean, I haven't read all of Promised Neverland, but when we get to it, and I don't think it's come up. I think it's right now, it's still in the, what's it called? Or did it come out on the regular feed yet? I don't think it did. I don't think it did. I think it's still, one of the early access.
Early access.
We were almost in tears by the end of that first chapter. That was so well done.
Like, they have the potential, like, this creative team, they could do big feels. We know that.
Remember that poor little girl? I don't even remember her name. Looking at her with those dumb eyes.
Connie?
Those dumb eyes.
The little rabbit.
I want to go. I'm off. Yeah. Remember how sad we were? But remember, I think, really, when we were doing that, we actually said that by the end we didn't realize how much we were attached to that little girl and things like that. And I just don't get that here. But I know that they're capable.
It's going for that kind of Saturday morning cartoon vibe. So, like,
it is.
I don't know.
It's weird though. It kind of it pulls back and forth with it.
It doesn't know what it wants to be, does it?
No, it doesn't. But I think that here's the deal. This is again, this is just my theory. Like, you end up doing a one shot, and like you said, ghost photographer deal. That felt like straight up one shot. Let's do it. Almost like that could have been like an episode of The Twilight Zone.
Oh, wow.
You just get it. It could have been an anthology. It's just there for that one deal. This, it feels like we said that they're trying to let's see if we can get this going. But in the meantime, I think that they're trying to give you every single thing that they could think of. The whole deal. Fun, action, this, that, family deal, this kid from before. And it ends up being too much of maybe a good thing or too much of not a developed thing. And you end up
together.
Yeah, you end up like it feels scattered. It feels like there's not a real full focus. And that ends up, instead of impressing you with the range of what it could be, you're kind of thrown back with the idea that it doesn't have a focus. It's a little scattered and stuff like that. That's how I feel by the end. And I really was upset by the end because when I first started, I'm like, the Seiho, even in a one shot, this might be the gem of the week. Like, this might be like, oh my God, she has such gem potential.
I know, right?
And then at the end, she kind of gets shoved aside and even kind of gets a little annoying because she's just a one-trick pony, just yelling, I don't need protection, I don't need protection. Sounds like,
and dumb, too, because she doesn't even recognize the childhood friends.
I know. Yeah, really. And doesn't realize she needs protection.
My goodness.
That's the biggest thing. I mean, hey, I used to yell that a lot in college, but I learned myself as well.
Yeah, you're better
and now I have 5 kids. I mean, what happened?
How dare you?
Oh my God. But with that, it's funny. Usually when we talk, I go up. I'm actually going to have to go a little down.
Are you going down?
7 out of 10. I said to you, I was between a 7.5 and an 8. But now I realize, especially reading it and going through it once again, that Seiho, the big, should be the star, ends up kind of get shoved aside by the end. And even that, like, the whole premise of this, of let's get this little girl to be able to love again. Let's have her be able to have friends. But she's too much on the run from all these awful people and things like that, yelling. She doesn't need protection.
She never really gets the time to shine. Like, outside of that start.
Just think of this, too. The idea that I can't have friends, but he gets his arm cut. He doesn't even she's like, oh no, I don't need this.
Well, they're not going to be. Are they going to be buddies? Are they going to go get ice creams? I don't know. Like, we don't even know if this dude has emotions.
Now, with that, now you say that, why isn't it that she realizes, oh my God, this is my chum from my childhood, but he doesn't have any memories of that. What are you talking about? Beep boop 10010, and then she's upset about it. and trying to, and maybe then we thought that she was going to learn to have friends, but little did we know that DC3 was going to learn to love again himself. But you don't get that. It's just thrown in there.
And
please let me protect you.
If that is right up for grabs, and if you hit that could be big feels. That could be everything.
Yeah. And just think of the idea that she realizes that he's who he is, just as we did. So then you don't think of her as a dummy. The big twist then is he doesn't remember this. He's like the RoboCops. And then he starts having the dreams. Did they dream of electric sheep? I don't know.
Oh, my goodness.
I don't know.
But
he lost his arm again.
That's why
we're making stuff up now.
But that's the most, kind of, I don't know if it's an aggravating thing. It's right there. You can almost reach out and grab it, but it's just hanging back. And then you're left kind of unsatisfied by the end.
Yeah. Yep, 7. What are you giving it?
I'll go...
here we go.
That's the rules. 7.2.
You're 7.3. 7.2?
Okay, I would say, I can go 7.3. You know why? That action at the end. Pretty cool.
Oh, yeah, the action's good. Yeah. It's funny, too, because you said you were going to be a Debbie Downer on this one. And when you get to that, I'm not exactly, the biggest action fiend as well. So when we do get the action, I do think, oh, man, that looks really good and it's pretty cool and all that. But you've already lost me when you have just, Hit Girl / Gabby / Damian Wayne, and you don't even take advantage of it after the first 3 pages.
Tail end as well.
I mean, it's weird that she starts off with I don't need, and then next thing you know, she's crying and running around and whatnot. I would have liked to have her fight one of those, ninja girls, one of the ninja gossip girls, while you had DC3 fight the other one. Would have been pretty cool, just to see that she can still hold her own and stuff like that.
We've seen from Shirai and Demiuzu, with Emma. Emma can hold her own in Promised Neverland. So, just sprinkle some of that in here.
Even just think, you end up having DC3 get and jump up and throw her on the bridge and then go down, and she's almost like, oh my God, I can't believe it. Oh my God. And why? Before she was pretty badass.
Are we supposed to be rooting for damsel in distress? Nah.
No, especially not when she's like, okay, let me get my school supplies. Tear gas,
stun gun. Give us more of that.
Yeah, that's what I wanted. I wanted to see, and even at the end of this one shot, I wanted it to be that maybe she doesn't need that. And just imagine the idea. Again, we're going to make up goofy things. She doesn't need the help. So then you end up getting DC3 all pissed off. So he sets up more and more of these disasters because he wants to try to save her using the janitor or the salaryman, whatever. And then finally, to try to do. But she just becomes a damsel in distress at that, drop of a hat just because he showed up. And that's not that great. So, but with that, I mean, when he punches that one blonde-haired girl, the katana girl, it's awesome. And she's crunching. Yeah, it's incredible. It's really, really good. But 7, you got a 7.3, and that's it. We didn't get to an hour. I tried. We still have 12 minutes. He ain't going to do it.
What are we going to do?
With all of that, let me thank everybody for listening. And then also, if you could, even if you didn't, the littlest thing that I might be able to ask is maybe give us a rating and a review.
We do love the ratings.
More at the Apple. We haven't had some in a little bit, and it's nice, and that gets us inspired to
maybe
do
everybody has been on vacation as well. I don't know.
Maybe they have. They've been on vacation from putting in the what's it called, the reviews. Didn't even think of what I'm saying. It's getting late. But also go over to Twitter at Weird Manga. Follow us. We'll follow you back. And then go to our Patreon if you want to hear a bunch of episodes like this, a little more positive most of the time. And
I don't think
it's one of those things.
We're not negative.
No, I know. But the thing is, it's always a crapshoot. A lot of the other ones we're able to pick or they get requested, and then you're kind of getting some big ones. And there are some big ones on the the shuffle of the early access stuff coming. On the way, and even on the feed already.
Yeah.
The early access, that's one thing, but the hot off the presses, that's a crapshoot. Yeah, because we don't know. We decide we're going to do it, and then we go. But with that, as we go, and just, patreon.com/weirdsciencemanga. Again, all that is in the show notes. But, Luke, we are going to be doing one of your requests next week.
Oh, my goodness.
Continuing a theme that kind of got a little bit, pushed aside for this week. But what is that next week?
Yeah, we're continuing the Gal theme with the end of the triple threat Gal mangas. Oh my goodness.
We like the Gal mangas.
Yes. And we were going to do it this week, but duty calls hot off the presses. You know?
Yeah.
There you go.
But what is it?
Next week we will be doing My Dress Up Darling.
My Dress Up
Darling. And then we'll get back to the list. Don't worry, because I know everybody's saying, "Oh, where's the list? Where's the?" I was on holidays. Give us a break.
Really. Also, with that, the other shows will start to come back as well. Me and Luke are talking about some things or whatever. But the reason we haven't had an anime show or Luke's show on Saturday nights is because he was on holiday. So we'll figure out what we're doing as we get back. But right now, both of us with podcasts and things like that, a little behind things. So these will gradually get back, but you always
get schedules.
Sleep schedules. I actually told my wife that I'm going to start getting up at 6:30 in the morning. That is not happening. It is not at all. I actually thought we were going to have this done by like 8 o'clock.
Good intentions.
It was not happening.
Well, you see, what happened is
we might have it at 8 o'clock. I didn't say a.m. Right. So you fell asleep, but that's fine. That is fine.
Same old.
That's what happened last week, so I was ready. I just started doing other things. And then my youngest son, we went and played basketball at one point, too. And I just took my phone. I'm like, hey, if Luke gets a hold of me while we're playing, we'll run back home because it's right down the road.
I was playing b-ball in my dreams.
Yeah, you didn't get back to me. So we ended up playing some b-ball. And then I came back, and then I did some more stuff. And I was just waiting.
You see, that's the thing here. I have a wee nap, and then you get all your work done. You see?
Yeah, I did.
We work together.
I still have like 3 things to do tonight, so I don't think I'm going to get up at 6:30. But thanks, everybody. Thanks again. Yeah, check out the show notes with all the links and where you can go and whatnot with all of that. But that is it. So thanks, everybody. Thank you, Luke. And we'll talk to you soon.